What's in a name, ba-da-da-da? What's in a name, ba-da-da-da? Hi, I'm the air quotes comedian, but you could call me Betty. Or, I could call you Betty, and Betty, when you call me, you could call me Predictable. And this is the Polemics, where I, Betty, Predictable, whatever, take your fanciful concepts and grand ideas and, like a god, I bat them around as if they were a ball of string. What, your god doesn't purr? What kind of god is that? No god at all, that's what. What's in a name, ba-da-da-da? This one is scripted in the style of an unscripted piece, which is to say, it's written as if it was simply recording what was said contemporaneously, but was, in fact, written before anything was uttered, and whose authenticity as an off-the-cuff work is called into doubt by the use of words such as contemporaneously. Have you ever played the definition game? You might be asked, define a dog, and you might have a go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, says you. It's got 4 legs and goes woof. Ah yes, counters the interlocutor, unscriptedly, but so does a gasoline-soaked dining table that had a chance encounter with an open flame. It's a fun game where the more you try to drill down into what something is, the more you find out how nebulous and imprecise our language can be, until you end up with a dog that's a cat. Take former benzo-chomping champ and current word saladsmith Jordan Peterson, please, Badumtis, who will sit there saying things that make little sense while complaining about anybody who calls him out in debate by policing the use of certain words his interrogators use and what those words might mean. As if Jordan Peterson is the sole arbiter of meaning in any given discussion or debate, argument, whatever it is Mr. Peterson thinks he does. What do you mean by belief? He will ask his tormentors, who simply want to know his position on things, not know him, biblically. What do you mean by God? He will bleat to his torturers, who very well understand the concepts at play and feel a bit put out by Mr. Peterson deliberately running out the clock. What do you mean by is? He asks them, which just proves he's a philosopher after all. Now come on, Patrick. You know very well that we have to agree on what things mean. Jordan, who can't help being Canadian, he had no choice in the matter, is simply making sure everybody is on the same page. His page, where things mean what he says they mean in any given moment. My rebuttal went awry. I first got this bug up my butt about definitions when I tried to define exactly what art is. I won't go through it here as it's very involved and I can't quite recall where I landed. As with most things, the notion of the nebulousness of definitions percolates back there somewhere, and on occasion I'll dust it off and examine it from a different angle or just see if there's another pathway that makes sense. So, by and large, it was on my mind and has been for a while. All well and good, but it takes up valuable processing time and system resources, so I can't wear shoes with laces in until it's resolved. What is the definition of life? Quite famously, scientists and philosophers wonder if a virus is a living thing or something grey and on the cusp. Personally, I think reality is trolling us if I believed it was anything other than a blindly deterministic configuration of laws and material in a constant change state, which, at a stretch and with a few tweaks, several tweaks, a lot of tweaks, could be a perfectly serviceable definition of life. While reality doesn't care about definitions, or indeed anything, human beings really like to believe they definitely know what's what and imagine they have a firm grasp on defining the bleeding obvious, thank you very much. That's certainly how comedian Ricky Gervais sees it during his performances, isn't it? In 1980 I was, 8 years old? And if you're a content identity thief, my mum's dog's name was Your Mum. And on the television was a documentary called A Change of Sex, which chronicled Julia Grant's sex change operation. I must have been at my auntie's house because I remember on the back of seeing the promo for the programme, "What's up with that, auntie?" And while I can't remember exactly what she said, the gist of it was, This bloke is becoming a lady. Probably not the most enlightened way to describe it, but, and this is the important thing, there was no judgment from my auntie, no sense that this was anything other than an interesting story. My 8-year-old brain had no problem accepting that sex was mutable, and I've never encountered any scientific evidence to the contrary since then. All I can remember of the documentary is some of the footage of the surgery and the frankly mean-spirited treatment Julia got from a lot of people in it. My feeling was, here's this person trying to get done what they need doing, not in anybody else's beeswax or harming anyone, and you want to pour derision on them during an extremely personal and vulnerable time. Why would you do that? 8-year-old me thought that. Ricky Gervais would have been 18 or so at the time, nobody giving him permission to stay up late to watch something on BBC Two, no. And you know what I think? I think Ricky Gervais saw it too. I think he sat his 18-year-old self down and watched Julia be berated by the psychiatrist, a medical doctor, remember, do no harm, yeah, my eye. Watching the grueling operation and painful recovery, saw the withering attitude of the public at large and their disdain for Julia, and he thought to himself, didn't he? He thought, you know what Julia Grant needs? She needs somebody to make jokes about her because she probably hasn't been through enough. Let's all laugh at her. Except he wouldn't deign to call her, would he? Come on, Ricky. It's basic respect. After all, the public respect that you want to be called a comedian, so what gives? I see definitions as guideposts, broad things with a reasonably common frame of reference that allow navigable communication. I think any pretense that just came out off of the top of my head is gone at this point, and to think I made accusations against Jordan Peterson's word salad. Well, at least my salad has a flavourful dressing. That's all for this episode of the Polemics. Please do not like the video. Don't subscribe to the channel. In fact, I'd urge you to try and forget what you have witnessed here this evening. It's in the best interests of everybody concerned. Good night.